Hello, my name is Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the care and feeding of a New World Age report for the Gregorian date of August 18th, 2016, and one keeb or wisdom in the Mayan Soul King calendar, with the Aquarius Full Moon, the Sun entering Virgo, Venus entering Libra, and Mercury turning retrograde. August 18th is one keeb or wisdom which carries the themes of the old one, ancient memories that wait at sacred sites, protection of universal consciousness, inner strength, shared teachings, the elders, clearing away the past like the vulture, forgiveness, making amends, great sages and keepers of ancient records. Represented by the vulture or owl, this is a time of releasing the past through forgiveness, which creates a grateful heart space to receive the wisdom of the ancients. The next 13 days are about surrendering something that no longer serves to make room for transformation. This is a time to forgive others and ask for forgiveness not only from individuals, but also from Mother Earth. And before we get into the daily energy for one keeb or wisdom, on the 18th, all the planets appear to be moving forward from our vantage point on Earth, except for Chiron, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, which appear to be moving retrograde or in reverse motion. And remember, the themes of retrograde planets are about a review of the past, reevaluate, reminisce, and we can see these themes being played out. Chiron retrograde has us reviewing our wounds so they can be released by having the courage to open our hearts to any fear or pain associated with our past. If you find yourself recalling painful events or situations between now and when Chiron turns direct on November 30th, it's advisable to remain conscious while dealing with these uncomfortable feelings, as they will reveal a path to healing and letting go of what no longer serves us in our upcoming journey. Uranus in Aries retrograde is seeking to shake our very foundation through the unexpected rebellion of the individual. Uranus in Aries will have people wanting to hurry the process of getting free, to push the river of revolution, whether it be personal or political. Uranus in astrology forces us outside of our comfort zone, so we look for possibilities outside the box. This is about unplanned experiences that disrupt our perceived or planned life path in order to move us forward in our spiritual evolution, both individually and globally. And then Neptune retrograde is seeking transcendence through spiritual experiences. So this is a time to use spiritual practices to keep us grounded as we expand our intuition and consciousness. Both Neptune and Pisces, the silent rules, tend to be dreamy, imaginative, difficult to nail down due to their qualities of illusion and illumination, often without any way to know which is which. They represent compassion and codependence, selflessness and loss of self, higher purpose and substance abuse in their inspiration to transcend the material plane and experience something beyond words and thoughts. Pluto, the planet of transformation through death and rebirth, is also retrograde. It's also reviewing the past. And this is a time of releasing anything from the past that is a burden to our new path. Pluto represents death and completion, and in Capricorn, it brings the breakdown of structures to bring about transformation. But the big change during the Wisdom Trecena is Mercury changing directions as it moves retrograde on the 30th, the last day of the Trecena, and then it will turn direct on September 22nd. So the end of this Trecena would be a good time to avoid signing contracts or other legal papers, making any major purchases, or even taking a new job. If you can postpone these types of activities, the terms are going to be much clearer after Mercury is moving direct, and that may seem impossible. So if you can avoid these types of activities a few days before and after Mercury changes direction on August 30th, and also on September 22nd. That's when the energy is at its most potent. So those are times when making those types of decisions would be more impacted by the Mercury retrograde. And Mercury retrogrades force us to slow down and pay more attention in our lives by making us focus on the details of our daily experience. And when we look at a retrograde cycle of any of the personal or inner planets, it provides information about a correction to our present course. And during this report period, we've been traveling through the first stage of the retrograde process, beginning on August 10th. And really, there are 2 points to be aware of in looking at any retrograde cycle. There's the point where the planet appears to slow down and move backwards at 29 degrees Virgo. And then there is the point where it appears to be moving forward again at 14 degrees Virgo. So the first stage represents the shadow time between passing 14 degrees Virgo and the point where the planet will eventually begin. That's the point where the planet will eventually begin moving forward again. So between this point, 14 degrees Virgo, and where it turns retrograde at 29 degrees Virgo, this is the first stage where we receive information about needing to adjust our direction. The second stage is the actual retrograde phase. It's the time to watch for events that occur related to the information that we received during the first stage. So from August 30th until September 22nd, that's the retrograde cycle. That's going to be when we're going to experience those events. The third stage begins when the planet is moving forward again on September 22nd at 14 degrees until it crosses the point where it had turned retrograde at 29 degrees Virgo, and that's on October 7th. During the third stage, that's when we can move forward with a revision to our previous course. So we entered the first stage for Mercury on August 10th. So from then until the 30th, we're receiving information about an adjustment that needs to be made in our lives. And then Mercury is retrograde from August 30th to September 22nd. So from 29 degrees Virgo to 14 degrees Virgo, which is a time when, again, we're going to notice events that shift our thinking. And then from September 22nd until October 7th, that's when we are in the third stage where we implement the change from the direction, change in direction from the awareness that we gained through experiencing this process. And if you look at the house of your astrology chart that contains 14 to 29 degrees of Virgo, that's where you're going to find the themes of where you're going to experience revisions, reviews, and rethinkings of the characteristics represented by that house. For instance, for me, Mercury is going to be moving back and forth through my fourth house of the home and inner world. So I expect this cycle to provide new information about organizing, cleaning, and making repairs to my home, and perhaps some type of inner work on myself. So no matter where Mercury retrogrades in your chart, it often leads to changing choices, goals, and directions. In the world, look for themes of completion through an intellectual review of the past, particularly related to communications about topics like health, service, and organization, while Mercury moves through Virgo. And there are 4 Mercury retrogrades in 2016, and the last 3 are in Earth signs. We had the Taurus retrograde, now we're having Virgo, and then at the end of the year we'll finally have a Capricorn Mercury retrograde. And as we move through August, Mercury slows down and turns retrograde at 29 degrees Virgo on the 30th. And when a planet slows down to a stop from our perspective here on the Earth, the planet is considered to be at the peak of its power. And Mercury at the peak of its power reminds me that the Greek god Hermes, the Romans renamed to Mercury. He was also the trickster god. He was the messenger of the gods, and if you weren't on his good side, you might not get the message, or it might be altered to mean something different than what was intended. And in mythology, the trickster is a god, goddess, woman, man, animal, or spirit that creates mischief by playing tricks and acting outside the accepted rules of the community. Joseph Campbell said, almost all non-literate mythology has a trickster hero hero of some kind. And there's a very special property in the trickster. He always breaks in just as the unconscious does to trip up the rational situation. He's both a fool and someone who is beyond the system. And the trickster represents all those possibilities of life that your mind hasn't decided it wants to deal with. The mind structures a lifestyle, and the fool or trickster represents a whole other range of possibilities. He doesn't respect the values you set up for yourself and smashes them. The fool is the breakthrough of the absolute into the field of controlled social orders. I think that's also a great description of Mercury retrograde. So let's look at the daily vibrational energy for the Trecena. Okay, August 18th is one keeb or wisdom. This is about unity experience through introspection, meditation, and forgiveness in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. And we have the Aquarius Full Moon. And this chart is actually pushed forward till for the sun to be in Virgo. So at the time of the Aquarius full moon, we can think about this end of the pointer as being the Earth and the rest of the pointer being line of sight. We're really more over here in the orbit, so that the sun is being projected back onto the constellation of Leo for the Aquarius full moon. And it's interesting to me, many astrologers are hyping this as an eclipse, yet none of my resources that I rely on note it as being any type of eclipse. The full moon is at 25 degrees 52 minutes, and it's in harmony with the sign's ruling planet of Uranus. So, you know, and it's also, of course, opposed the sun in Leo. And, of course, we get the standard hype related to the Aquarian age by astrologers who really have not done their research into when the Aquarian age will occur, which we actually covered way back in the New World Birth video from January 13th, 2013. And that's still available on YouTube. And if you connected with that offering, you know that we are over 300 years away from the Aquarian age, which has been hyped as being a time of spiritual bliss. But Aquarius represents technology and non-personal humanity, detachment, which really reminds me of the Borg collective in from Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's an impersonal technology that travels the universe, assimilating others into group consciousness. And ironically, the characters that I root for in that show represent the Leo opposition to Aquarius, being willful, creative, strong individuals. Anyway, none of us are going to be alive in our current incarnation when the Aquarian age dawns. This is about finding balance between our social consciousness, represented by the moon in Aquarius, and being happy, creative, and having fun, represented by the sun in Leo. With the moon stimulated by Uranus, it brings a pleasant yet restless feelings, craving emotional excitement to do something outside of the daily routine. During the full moon, Venus is just past its conjunction with the North Node, which brings our values to open our hearts to our authentic evolution and release the past. The Leo sun wants to be dramatically expressed, feeling tension with the transpersonal path to reason of the Aquarian moon. Both Leo and Aquarius are in fixed signs, so I wouldn't expect any differences that come up to be resolved right away. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, so the results of this full moon are unpredictable. This is very challenging for folks with planets between 24 and 28 degrees of Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. To the Native American fishing tribes, this is the full sturgeon moon, when the large fish of the Great Lakes and other large bodies of water were more easily caught. It's also called the full red moon because of its color as it rises. Other names are the green corn moon and the gray moon. Grain moon, because of obviously green corn and grain being harvested at that time. I'm not going to be covering the daily lunar activity other than the full moons and new moons in these reports, the videos themselves. But the information is available on the New World Birth Daily Facebook post and also on the blogger New World Birth blog. The 19th is Tu Kaban, or Earth. This is about duality experience through gratitude for Mother Earth. And at this point, we have Mercury is being opposed by Chiron, which brings greater focus on our thinking regarding issues that require release to promote the healing and can take us more deeply into our past wounds to allow more organized insights that seek resolution. We may feel uncomfortable and unsettled as old emotions come to the surface in our conscious minds so that they can be healed. August 20th is 3 Etsnob, or Flint, taking action through being introspective in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. The 21st is 4 Kawak, or Storm, which is about stability through recognizing the gifts in adversity. And then August 22nd, we have 5 Ahau, or Sun, empowerment through honoring the wisdom and memory of our ancestors. And it's interesting that on an Ahau, or Sunday, we have the Sun entering into Virgo. So from our perspective here on the Earth, the Sun moves into 0 degrees Virgo, which begins our transition to the next season, finishing up summer in the north and winter in the south. This is much more modest, practical, reserved energy than the Leo energy of the past month. We're more interested in mundane details and getting organized. Traditionally, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, but I also agree with my teacher, Barbara Hand-Clow, that Chiron, the wounded healer, is the modern ruler of the sign associated with health. Virgo. This should bring a shift to more focus on organization, self-improvement, criticism, and service. And then also on the 22nd, Mercury conjuncts Jupiter. So from our perspective here on the Earth, Mercury and Jupiter are at the same degree of Virgo, and this has us looking at larger issues in life. It helps our comprehension by seeing the bigger picture and incorporating new information. It also brings more tolerance of the viewpoints of others. This can be a time of evaluating our hopes and dreams along with our overall plans for the future. This can be quite optimistic and particularly good for business and commercial transactions, contract negotiations, and dealing with the law, especially if we recognize that we get what we want by helping others fulfill their needs. Encouragement comes naturally during this transit. We're likely to feel our communications are expansive, not only in quality, but also in the scope of topics. Virgo's influence brings experiences as an expansive idea that ideas that flow right into industrious implementation, or at least organization and planning of what has been revealed. It would be the best to avoid being overconfident, as this may be a time where people overlook important details under the influence of Jupiter. The 23rd is 6 Emish, or Crocodile, in the Mayan Zolkin calendar, which is about being in the flow through nurturing new beginnings. August 24th is 7 Eek, or Wind, reflection through communication. And at this point, we have Mars conjunct Saturn. So from our perspective here on the Earth, Mars and Saturn are at the same degree of Sagittarius. can be difficult can be difficult for people or end up being more frustrated and irritable. So it's not a day to launch a risky or daring endeavor because this energetic does not favor success. We have limitation, Saturn to our vigor, Mars. This transit prefers following a well-established routine. Older people may seem more irritable under this influence. Folks that may feel anger that they cannot express and find themselves seething in silence. It would be better to channel this anger into some type of hard work and realize that the perception is temporary. Mars and Saturn have a well-deserved bad reputation, and during this time period, they square Neptune. Neptune's in Pisces, and Mars and Saturn in Sagittarius could have many results. Some are less than pleasant. We've been dealing with Saturn square Neptune since last year, creating challenges as Saturn insists on structure and boundaries, and Neptune dissolves reality. So we look beyond the material world. Mars adds aggression to an already present challenging energy. This energy just lasts a few days, and should be eased by the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter on the 27th. On the 25th, it is 8 Akbal, or night, balanced through contemplating the stars, with Venus opposing Chiron, which we may feel as tension in our relationships or regarding money, as it brings our past wounds to the surface to allow healing. August 26th is 9 Con, or seed, or lizard. Patience experienced through planting seeds and making new connections. And at this point, we have Mars in a square to Neptune. So from our perspective here on the Earth, they're forming a 90-degree angle, and this can be difficult because it brings up a sense of doubt and discouragement, and also brings the energy for confrontations where people feel inadequate or try to avoid challenges as they hoped would just go away. People also question what they're doing with their lives. Recognize this is just going to last a few days, and it's best not to get lost in any hopeless feelings. And Neptune can diminish our energy, represented by Mars, and decrease our self-confidence. And then on the 27th, we have Venus conjunct Jupiter. So let's move along to this point here, where they are now both at the same degree of Virgo, which is one of the most agreeable, and unfortunately it only lasts a day, but it's a great transit. This is a very pleasant effect on people's moods. Many will become more optimistic, happy, outgoing, kind, cooperative, and eager. It brings folks to indulge themselves and spend money, as self-discipline is at a low. This would be a great day for any kind of celebration. Of course, with Venus, love relationships are favored. Typically, excellent energy for a wedding or a party. Is also a great energy for expanding creativity and being artistic, making things of beauty. August 28th is 11 Akimi, or transformation, resolution through releasing what no longer serves us in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. The 29th is 12 Manik, or deer, understanding through being of service to others. And at this point, we have Mercury conjunct Venus. So now those two planets are at the same degree of Virgo, which stimulates our appreciation of beauty, whether it be art, poetry, music, people, or nature. This optimistic in nature and often brings easygoing, pleasant experiences. This is a merging of mental and emotional realms within ourselves. So folks may experience concepts with emotions or express feelings in an intellectual manner. This is wonderful for creativity and any type of artistic expression. People find the right words to express in conversations or in writing. This transit can be very favorable for financial and business dealings, along with scientific research, by seeing the patterns in the universe and appreciating them aesthetically. Then also on the 29th, at this point we have Venus entering into Libra. So, so let me get that over here. Venus goes into Libra, moving out of Virgo. And so Venus in Libra, this is the sign ruled by Venus. So this is a happy place for the goddess of love. People focus more on balancing their relationships with Venus in Libra. Being an air sign, Venus in Libra is more romantic than sensual. Certainly the scales bring balance to the aesthetics of Venus, with people caring more about their appearance. This may influence people to create the right trappings and ambience for romance, such as intimate candlelit dinners, or a beautiful poem written for a lover, or some other charming way to express a special love for our partners. And then August 30th is 13 Lamont, or star, or rabbit. And at this point, this is about movement to the next stage through being grateful for abundant relationships. And at this point, this is where Mercury has gone around the corner and begins to move retrograde, as it's now transiting in front of the sun. So this making its corner into appearing to be moving reverse at 29 degrees 3 minutes of Virgo. And even folks that don't follow astrology are aware of Mercury retrograde's effect on communications, technology, and travel. This begins a time to review information below the surface with a focus on relationships during the retrograde cycle. Actually, this one in Virgo, will probably be more of a focus on things like organization and health and service are all Virgo themes. So from the 30th to September 22nd would be a good time to avoid signing contracts, other legal papers, making any major purchases, or even taking a new job. As I said before, if you can postpone those types of activities, the terms are going to be much clearer after Mercury is moving direct. The retrograde cycle provides information about a change or correction in our cosmic course. Being flexible will be the key to adapting to the ever-shifting information of Mercury in Virgo. And those with a high need for control will be especially challenged. Basically, the messenger is reviewing the past in the sign of the maiden, which is about organizing and thinking. Organization and thinking and conversations related to service and health. So no matter what energies are affecting you during the One Wisdom Trecena, take some time to be in the flow of the planet by being in nature, watching a sunrise or a sunset, communing with the stars, being conscious of the moment through introspection, meditation, or just really being conscious when you're with someone you love. Every day is a blessing, no matter what the dramas that beckon to distract us. We're all here just giving a performance of a lifetime on this world stage. Just take some time to observe your play as well as act your part, and remembering that you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. Anyway, I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the Care and Feeding of a New World Age report will be on August 31st for one Maluk, or offering, and it will include the Virgo new moon and solar eclipse and Jupiter entering Libra. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, or the Mayan Magics website, as there's New World Birth presences in all those places. And I encourage you to share this information as videos or as text as widely as you choose. And as always, I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you've got any questions or you wish to schedule a reading. And I am providing readings and wish to make these service available to the greatest amount of folks. So I've created 3 options with 3 levels of compensation. So if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. And we are also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. And again, contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com is the best way to get instructions on how to make a donation or get a reading. The readings I offer are quite involved, quite detailed. And, you know, when you think about how detailed these reports are, think about that, except they're all going to be about you. I use human design to describe who the person is, and I use astrology transits to describe what are the scenes of the play or movie that character is moving through. So, as always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries, their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh, and look forward to connecting with you in the future. All my best to everybody.